I have literally, say, 2 minutes ago, switched on the internet. I was lying here listening to some records, some American records actually. I was having a listen to some American prog and was actually enjoying an album by the progressive rock band Crack the Sky, their debut album, which is quite incredible. Preparing for some videos on American music. I had my Stars and Stripe delivered today, ready to use in the videos that I'm about to do, and decided to switch the internet on, and straight away I was hit by the news that Dolly Parton has died. I am absolutely in shock. Then I had a phone call from my wife, and she said, I can't believe this. And she's crying. My wife is crying downstairs because Dolly Parton's died. This is really so strange, because those who follow the channel will know that yesterday I brought a video out entitled Dolly Parton is Rubbish. And it was actually a video that contemplated in a sort of comedic way the nature of YouTube and how we, can get views by hating stuff and pouring scorn on stuff. And, there's always somebody who loves an artist and there's always somebody who hates an artist, isn't there? And I thought I would lampoon that by picking on an artist who is universally loved. And it didn't take long for me to think, who shall I pick? And it was Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is a staple of American music. What she does goes back to the beginnings of American folk music through country music, but also coming through, taking on all aspects of popular music throughout her career, which started in the late 60s. This is a real shock. Dolly Parton seemed to exemplify the best of America. And I'm pretty sure that me draping myself in this flag on a video about Dolly Parton will be quite acceptable, because I think even amongst Americans she was universally loved. And why? I think she personified something so true. I mean, we talk about authenticity and we talk about artists who are true, but there's a pretentiousness there. But there was never a pretentiousness about Dolly, was there? There was never a pretentiousness. Where do we start with her? Well, she was an incredible songwriter. Whether it be I Will Always Love You or Butterflies, or I can remember when I was quite young hearing... and I can't remember the title of it. It's a song where she takes on she sort of inhabits this girl who is stood on a bridge about to jump off. They're about to kill themselves, and they're thinking about what's brought them there to that point. And then suddenly the song finishes very abruptly, and it's a shock, and it's almost avant-garde. But of course, Dolly couldn't be avant-garde. She was so accessible, she was so loved. She inhabited this character, the sort of blonde bimbo, but all of us knew she wasn't a bimbo. And from that position, she was able, I think, to sing songs that went deep into normal people's lives, how they think, especially those who had come up in a period of America through poverty. She echoed that coming into the 1960s. She'd never been part of that 1960s sort of hippie revolutionary aspect. Back then she was, sharing a stage on television on the Porter Wagoner show, someone who sort of was a mentor. Then she struck out on her own. And she was one of those artists that, could write a song, sing the song, was charismatic, had a beautiful voice that personified all that's best about American music, American popular music. She could write disco tunes, if you think of 9 to 5, which accompanied her acting in a film, and she was one of the few pop stars, rock stars, whatever you want to call it, that was able to go towards film and be completely natural and have a very strong career in film. She collaborated. I think of Islands in the Stream, one of the perhaps the most iconic male and female duet in popular music is Islands in the Stream. And I think we took her for granted. Now, what's really interesting with this is that I've got to sit here and think, shall I leave that video up that I put up yesterday? What was going on in me to think that? Because if you watch that video, there was a point in it where I said, "Oh, we haven't heard much from her recently. She seems very quiet." And I'd heard she was had some health issues, and it was on my mind. And she popped into my mind, a couple of days ago, which inspired me to make a very strange video, which was really based upon a very simple premise, that whether you like prog or heavy metal or jazz rock or fusion or avant-garde music, experimental music, everybody loves Dolly Parton. Everybody does. And that goes further, I think, than even the songwriting, even her voice, even all the stuff she did. She had an aspect about her that was truly it was truly in line with the people. This is very, very rare. I think Louis Armstrong had this. That someone that came from the people, there's no airs and graces, but possessed genius, but not in a way that was intimidating. This is rare. It's absolutely rare. She was always very self-deprecating. She had a wicked sense of humour. I've spent my time online so many times just watching interviews with her and watching her run rings around the interviews, totally in control, but never arrogant. I think this is the key. There's a humbleness to her, which wasn't an affectation. She didn't put it on. This is why she's loved. Right? We knew she was a monster. We knew she was a brilliant songwriter, brilliant singer. We know all this, but it's very rare. And I think when that happens, it's because the voice of the person, the music that's in them, is entirely natural. There seems to be no point when they try to emulate their heroes or become part of this movement, the thing that we all do. No, they have such an honesty and such a natural commitment to truth, which they are not even aware of. It just comes natural. And these artists are few and far between, really few and far between. There's a famous story about Ella Fitzgerald when she was on her deathbed, and she turned around and she said, "I wonder why they liked me." And then a few minutes later, she went, "Oh, I know why they liked me. It was because of the songs. The songs were so good." Now, of course, with Dolly Parton, the songs were so good. I'm not a fan of country music, but I am inclined to like the female country stars, whether it's Patsy Cline or Tammy Wynette, more than the male ones, I think. There's a sweetness there which seems to act as the sort of inverse to rock and roll. And I like that. There's a delicacy and there's a subtlety to those performers that are able to really inhabit a tune. And her tunes were so strong. But I think of all the country singers, and there's so many great country singers, Dolly Parton seemed to occupy a place all of her own. I am literally reeling. I'm shocked. I really am shocked. She was 80 years old. And I mean, this is it's the massive appeal across such a broad spectrum of people. Gay people love Dolly Parton, and American patriots love Dolly Parton. I am shocked. I'm really shocked. I mean, she was 80 years old, so she had a reasonable life, I suppose. Why would this be a shock? I almost felt like I knew this was about to happen a few days ago. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I wouldn't normally say this, but the evidence is in the video that came out yesterday. It only came out yesterday. My daughter's practicing piano downstairs. I'm not in my studio, so you may hear the tinkle of piano coming across in the distance. Music goes on, we go on. Dolly Parton's left us, another one, and this is a heavyweight. This is an absolute legend. This is big. This is big. Would I be getting on here if Willie Nelson died? I mean, ZZ Top's a lot closer to what we talk about on this channel, and yet I didn't quite feel inspired to get up and do a tribute to Frank Beard, a drummer that I've loved for years and years and years, but I didn't know quite what to say. As you can tell with this video, I really don't know what to say. I'm literally found out a few minutes ago, I'm in shock. Dolly Parton's died. Dolly Parton's died. Oh, God, I mean, when I was a little kid, growing up in the UK, and you're so far away, really, from America, but I would get up in the morning and my mum would be combing me hair, me trying to get school uniform on, and Terry Wogan, the late great Terry Wogan, another person much missed by me, would have his radio show on, and he'd play all sorts of different people, and Dolly Parton was a staple, and I grew up with her, and she seemed part of my world before I discovered all the rock music and prog. And those songs have been with me since day one. There's never been a period where I looked down on her or thought, this is not what I'm into. I'm into all the heavy stuff, the jazz and stuff like that. I never felt that. I never ever felt that. I'm about to embark on a real deep consideration of American music. I've had a go at it, but I'm also trying to celebrate it. I've recently done a video on the blues, history of that. I've talked about Americana. I've been talking about Neil Young and Lou Reed, and I don't know. I can't. When somebody dies like this, I like to put the camera on and react straight away, whatever the situation is. So I record the shock more than the tribute and the information. My camera ran out, just swapped over to another camera. This video will be put up unedited, so I'm just going to put the two things together. So there's probably some horrible edit there, because YouTube is a place where we can react in real time. This is going to be hitting Western culture like a bomb. This is going to go on and on. The tributes will come thick and fast for this lady. And so I've tried my best. I've tried to explain the shock, and I now need to explain how much I love Dolly Parton, and I really did. So, Dolly, I just want to say, if you can hear me, if you're around, or if you can't, I don't know. Let's put it out into the world. I think that you, Dolly, really was one of the great artists of our time. And that what you did for music, what you did for people's happiness, is very rare in this world. And whatever you did and whatever you said and whatever music you made and whatever collaborations you did, there was always an honesty and a purity there. And that is very rare in today's world. what you possessed was incredibly rare, and you never let us down. So, rest in peace, Dolly Parton, 1946 to 2026. Thanks for watching this video.